So I've left Thailand and moved to Cambodia. And as for why I've left the land of smiles, that's the purpose of today's video. Because although you might think it's because of the rising cost, or Pattay's reputation finally got to me, or even maybe it was because of the intense heat, well actually, it's none of those. So let me get into the actual reasons. But let's not get too ahead of myself, because as for where it all started, I was back in England, living the normal life, working 5 to 6 days a week, depending on if there's any overtime available. And this was back in 2023, when I finally realised I had enough of this lifestyle. I wanted to try something else. So I did what any sane person would do. I quit my job and went travelling in Thailand for 1 month. Admittedly, I didn't have a big master plan, I just knew I needed to shake things up and actually figure out what life I wanted to live, and how I was going to live it. So after a month I had to return back to England, which only made my decision to move to another country even stronger. So after I set up a plan, I got to work, saved up money, started my own business, doing everything I needed to do so when I quit my job this time, it's not just 1 month away. And fast forward, that's exactly what I did, and now I've managed to spend over a year in Thailand, and I think it might be time to move on, which is why I have. But as for why I left Thailand, you might be thinking it's because I had enough of the beaches and the smiles, but that's not true. The truth is, I always wanted to travel around Southeast Asia, but I wanted to have a base and stay there for most of the year. That was always part of my master plan when I first came out here, so I started with Thailand since actually that had been the only country I'd been to at that point when I first moved out of here anyway. And I wanted to try living in Thailand for at least a full year, which is what I did, and a bit longer actually, and I'm super glad I did that. I had a sea view balcony, which is exactly what I wanted, daily beach walks. I mean, it was my idea of what the Thailand dream life is. I got exactly the life I was after. And then during the year I had some holidays to Cambodia for a month. I also visited Vietnam, Malaysia, just to test the waters and see if I could see myself living in any of these other countries. And honestly, I could have picked any of those 3 countries that I mentioned. I enjoyed my time in all 3 of them. So no, I didn't get tired or bored of Thailand. Thailand is still amazing regardless of what you might read on the internet. And if you're the right person, you'll absolutely love Thailand. But if you want something a bit cheaper with less crowds, then there are other countries in Southeast Asia worth checking out. So now let's jump into the big question, the final question. Why Cambodia? Why of all the countries in Southeast Asia did I pick Cambodia? Well, as I said, I previously travelled around Cambodia for a month and I fell in love with it. As much as I love Thailand, I did find myself enjoying Cambodia even more. For me at least, the people are super friendly and perhaps the friendliest people in Southeast Asia. The weather is just as good, there's less crowds, less tourists, and it just feels a bit more authentic. I've also heard people saying Cambodia nowadays is what Thailand used to be many years ago. I've even heard many times people say that Cambodia is just a lesser or B-Tech version of Thailand, which just isn't true at all. Might add, normally the people that say that typically haven't even been to Cambodia before. It just seems to be a stereotype that sticks and spreads for some reason. But as for the benefits, I guess you could say that Cambodia has that Thailand doesn't. For one, it has a lower cost of living. The visa process is super simple and easy, with fewer restrictions than Thailand. You can actually own your own business here and be the majority shareholder. And it's also quieter and definitely has a less commercialized lifestyle, which can appeal to the adventurers or those that just want a different and slower pace of life. I mean, that's some of the benefits or pros to Cambodia when compared to Thailand. But it's important to remember they are different countries and offer different things. And I'll say this, the main thing I miss from Thailand is the Thailand beach. I mean, I'm in the north of Cambodia here, so there's not many beaches, well, there's no beaches near me at all. But I am ready for the more jungle life for at least a little while anyway. And it's really just a change of scenery. I'd happily live in Thailand again in the future. In fact, I could definitely see myself there again. But as for right now, Cambodia was calling me, and I wanted to give it a fair shot. I figured it was time for a change. And remember, you don't always have to follow the crowd. And that's it for today's video as for why I left Thailand after over a year of living there and moved to Cambodia. So if you're not sure what to expect from Cambodia or you just want to see more about this country, then make sure you subscribe because that's going to be the focus of this channel for at least the foreseeable future. But that's it for today's video, and as always, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.